Hello and welcome to the BinarX Student Payload Development Program Week 7, where we are going to start preparing your mission concept review presentations. So Binar Space Program updates first. It has just been decided in the last week that the BinarX Summer Holiday Program will return for 2025. We had so much fun building payloads for model rockets and flying them last year that we're planning to do it again. There will be more information later in the year, but please think about joining us for 10 days at Curtin University in mid-January 2025, where participants will design, build, test, and fly payloads using similar hardware and software to your payloads for space, and we'll also build model rockets, which are very cool too. So I've got mine here from last year, and you can see the other ones there on the next slide. But there's also Cursed Tallest Tower and T-shirt making, also all part of the fun. And at the end of the program, on the second last day, we launch our model rockets with our families here at Curtin. It was a lot of fun last year, and then we took the data and from the flights, the payloads gathered during the flights, and processed it and had presentations. So hopefully, if that's something that interests you, please get in touch. All right, so this week we are going to work on our mission concept review presentations. So what is a mission concept review? Essentially, a mission concept review, or an MCR, is a process that you go through to present what your mission is, why you're doing it, how you're going to do it, etc. A mission concept review is a part of real-life space project management. You can read more about this and other space project management reviews in the NASA Systems Engineering Handbook, which is provided as a link in the resources section of the lesson plans if you're interested in getting into the details. So we won't go through every single part, but we're hoping to have everyone from our BinarX schools at Curtin for a full day on Wednesday, June 19th. So we'll talk more about this. Your teachers have those dates, and we've been discussing that. We would love for you to come out and do your mission concept review presentations here live and in person to our scientists and our engineers. But understanding people have a lot of commitments and things can be tricky, so you're also welcome to pre-record your presentations and submit them for feedback. And we'll come back to you with feedback so that you can keep working on your mission. On the next slide, on the next slide, there's a video that the Binar Space Program team made explaining a little bit more about what a mission concept review might look like in the context of the BinarX program that you're participating in. So please go watch that. It's also under the video resources on your lesson plan for this week. If you can't see it on this PowerPoint, if you're watching the video, it won't embed. So please go over and watch that, and then come back here and we'll go over what you should include in your mission concept review presentations. So here is an overview of the format of the mission concept review that we want. Your presentation should run for a maximum of 10 minutes, no more. We won't be able to get everyone through on the day if we go over time, so please keep to that time. It can be live in person with your team's members there, or pre-recorded and submitted to us if you're not able to attend the presentation in person. You should accompany your presentation with a slide deck of 6 to 15 slides and include all the vital information for your mission concept review in the slide deck. I've also supplied your teachers with a template for the mission concept review to get you started, but please change those to make them your own to reflect the personality of your team and the spirit of your mission. But you're welcome to use ours if you're short on time, but I'd really love to see your voices and your creativity coming through there. So find your designer, your team designer, and let them have at it. So after you present, you will have questions and feedback from our scientists and engineers. You can then incorporate the feedback from the review into your plan as we move into term 2. And please make sure you submit the presentation slide deck in PowerPoint or PDF by Monday, June 17th. So it's a couple of days ahead so we can get them all loaded on so we don't lose time on the day mucking around. You can send them to binarx@curtin.edu.au. If they're too big to email, you can arrange to file share them and just email me and we'll figure something out. So this is the first of 3 sessions we will spend. So 3 weekly sessions we will spend working on your mission concept review presentations. I want you to prepare the presentation, which is based on the structure of a real mission concept review for a real space mission. And these are the things. This is the full list of what we want in the presentation. This week I'll just explain the items we're going to cover this session, so this week, and we'll go into other ones in later weeks. So this week we're going to talk about the mission name and team members, the mission objective, identification of key stakeholders, mission concept, and expected key outcomes. In the next time we meet and talk about your mission concept review, which will be in week 10, we'll have session 2. We'll do your concept of operation, or ConOps, which is a term used in the space industry to basically tell us how the spacecraft will, or how your payload will accomplish its mission. And in week 12, we'll identify the key challenge or the biggest risk, most challenging aspect to your mission being a success. And you'll also rehearse and refine and tidy up, because then the week after you'll come to Curtin and you'll present. We won't talk about item 6, the measure of effectiveness. I just wanted it on there because it is part of a mission concept review in the real world, and that's more to talk about how you're going to measure, and exactly, it's a little bit more formal about how you measure your mission success, but for this I don't think we need to get into it. So optional. You can, if you want to look into it and get fancy, absolutely go for it. So I want your mission name and team members on the first slide, but as I said, please mix this up and use fonts, colors, and a layout that you choose to reflect you as a team. In the next slide, we want your mission objective, just 1 or 2 sentences. So your mission need and your mission objective. So the gap that you have identified. So in the case of a lot of the projects that we do in BinarX, it's a gap in knowledge, because you want to understand more about something else so that you're studying it, and it can be as simple as that. But say you wanted to go and study, we didn't have enough data about something specific in terms of Earth observation data over Perth. Whatever that data was, you would say, well, there's this gap, and nobody's coming over Perth that often, so we want to observe XYZ over Perth more frequently. And this is what we're going to observe, and that's what the objective would be. So I want to observe, forests, bushfires in Perth more frequently, and our objective is to get the data on that. So the need is the gap. So say there's nobody observing that particular thing over Perth or WA at the moment, and the objective is what you're planning to do about it. So there's no data, so I'm going to get the data is a simple way of looking at it. And I'm just speaking generally so that that you can apply this to your own concepts and I don't influence you too much. So once you've identified your need and objective, I need you to identify your key stakeholders and limit this to 1 or 2 stakeholders. Now you remember how we define stakeholders, and I think it was week 2 or 3. It was who would be interested in the outcome of the project, who is the mission for, and if your mission was a product, who would buy it. Now, your mission could be, building knowledge and education. It could be, finding out things for bushfire management or for developer, urban planners. Who is the key stakeholder of the mission at the end? And it can just be you as well, in the case of BinarX, because you are learning about space and all of the awesome things that you're doing. So your mission concept, what are we actually sending to space? So just a couple of sentences describing what your mission is going to do. How is that going to help you achieve your outcome? Do you have everything for the outcome you want? And what other options did you look at, if any? So you might have something that you want to do, but a few ways you want to achieve it, and why did you pick the one that you're presenting today? So you don't need to go into great depth. Remember, we've got a 10-minute overall presentation limit, so don't spend too much time writing big long volumes about it. But for example, if you were wanting to study the Van Allen belts, you could either do this by having a sensor to directly try to monitor the radiation environment in space, or make indirect observations of the Van Allen belts, such as the auroras. So that would be 2 ways of studying the Van Allen belts, but 2 different mission concepts. So just very briefly. Also, please give us your expected key outcomes. So that's basically what the mission deliverable is. What is the mission providing? So if it was a mission to image the surface of the Earth, it would be the images. But remember, we don't have lots of data and bandwidth, so it's not going to be high resolution images. If it was a system to test communication services, it would be the test results for the communication service. So just be really clear what you're trying to deliver in order to accomplish your objective and fulfill your needs. So the objective is different, mission objective is different from your mission deliverable. So the mission objective, let's say if you were studying the Van Allen belts, the deliverable would be data, the data that would come from studying it, or the photos that would come from doing the indirect studies. So that's your deliverable. What are you going to show us at the end? So you should next watch the exemplar mission concept review for Lunar Prospector, which is giving you an example of a mission concept review that Curtin University did for a mission that's actually happening. So it's Lunar Prospector, which is a 12U CubeSat that is currently in development to map the surface of the moon. So that's quite exciting. It doesn't need to be as polished as this video that you're going to watch, because we did have funding to get it to where it was and resources to do the renderings and all that, but it's still a good example, and we wanted to share it with you because it's also work that we're doing here at Curtin and in WA in the space sector. So it's very exciting to share. The things in this mission concept review presentation that would be worth spending the most time on would be figuring out exactly what the objectives of your payload mission are. I mean, everything is worthwhile, but the real benefit here is to get that nailed down and strong, and then we can build on that from there. We have a really good foundation. It doesn't have to be the best quality presentation. I think that, tidy and clean and neat is important because it needs to be clear communication. And if you have time, absolutely, make it as creative and beautiful as you have time to do. And I mean, that's, if that's something that you have a team member that wants to work on and that really shines at, please, go for it. But the important thing is absolutely the plan, because then everything is going to flow from that. You want to be very clear on what you're aiming to do. And it should be effective and tidy communication first. But if you have time, you can spend extra time on the design. And some little graphics can be nice, and diagrams and things like that. But for now, please watch the example mission concept review Binar Prospector on BinarX. There's a link to that in the video resources on this week's lesson plan. So good luck, and as always, email us with any questions you have at binarx@curtin.edu.au, and we are happy to help. So next week, spend some time working through the Introduction to Electronics boxes that have been sent to your schools. These ones. All right, take my little Post-it note off. So you've all got these boxes. Now remember that the videos online and the link there on the Binar Space website use different microcontrollers than the ones we have sent you. You've been sent the Arduino micros, either with or without header pins. So if you need to solder the header pins on, please also make sure you watch the tutorial that we'll send through, and I'll include in next week's lesson plan as well to make sure that you have it handy. We will upload the new code to SharePoint for next week's session that your teachers have access to, but we want you to have a go at changing the code that's online yourself to suit the Arduinos. But if you get really stuck, the modified code will be there to help you. These boxes are a really important step in introducing you to microcontrollers and electronics and coding. You'll build your confidence and have fun working through these, and then you'll be ready to start on your journey to understand how to program the microcontroller that we use in the payloads that will go to space, which is the STM32 microcontroller, and a bit more advanced than the Arduino micros. But it's also the microcontroller that we use in the rocket school holiday program that I mentioned at the beginning of this week's session. So yeah, go for it, and good luck. And if you have any questions, email me, and hopefully, or you can speak to me when you see me in person next. But either way, we're happy to help. And yeah, happy coding. Bye. Thanks.